Welcome to Get Organized at Work. I'm your host, Kayla Fahey-Ahrndt, healthcare leader, mom of three, and your go-to guide for ditching the chaos and taking control of your workday. This is the show where we turn overwhelming to-do lists into clear, actionable plans so you can crush your goals and show up as your best self at work and in your life. Whether you're here for strategies to stay ahead or systems to simplify your workday, you're in the right place. Let's get organized, have some fun, and make this year your best year in your career yet. Let's dive in. Welcome back to Get Organized at Work podcast. I'm Kayla. I'm your host. And today's episode is a Thanksgiving episode. You're already enough, a leadership reflection for the season. So I am someone who absolutely loves this cozy, reflective season. So happy Thanksgiving, my friend, especially if you are in the United States where you're celebrating. We're going to celebrate today on the pod. But before we jump in, I just have a quick announcement for everybody. I'm running a Black Friday sale this week. So everything in my shop on my website, all of my digital products, all my physical products, like my Leader Standard workbooks, as well as all the podcast merch, the mugs, the tumbler, the notebooks, hardcover, softcover, all of that is all 30% off. Everything until Sunday, I forget what day that is, the 30th? Yes, the 30th at 11:59 p.m. So it starts now. It's actually up right now as I'm recording. Everything is 30% off. So you don't have to do anything. You don't need any special codes. You just add everything to your cart. And then when you go to check out, it'll show you the 30% off for the Black Friday sale. And then it will show you the discount and how much that you've achieved with the amount of items you have in your cart. So I hope you enjoy that for this week. So go check it out. Grab your podcast merch while it's on sale this week. All right, let's get into our Thanksgiving special episode. So as a reminder, we're in the middle of our consistency series where we're focusing on redefining our best, releasing unrealistic expectations, letting go of hustle, resetting leadership expectations for ourselves, for others, and creating clarity through slowing down. And I think today ties beautifully into those themes because Thanksgiving invites us to pause and reflect and recognize our own enoughness. So if you allow me, let's just talk about that. And I have a really good exercise for you this week, a free downloadable that you can grab inside my free podcast community. So I'll be talking about that a little bit later in the episode. So first thing I want to talk about is the leadership lie of, quote, not enough. And this is a time of year when leaders often feel like, you're sitting down to do your review or writing your self-assessment, or you're just like thinking about the work that's happened this year and everything you have to do next year. And you start to think like, I didn't do enough, or I should have done more by now. I let that project slide, or this thing didn't get far enough along. And you might even see other people and think, well, everyone else seems like they're further ahead than me. But Thanksgiving gives us an opportunity to interrupt that thought pattern. Just pause, set that aside. And I want to tell you that I believe you've done enough for today. And you've grown in ways you've even forgotten to notice. And that's what we're going to do today. We're going to try to remember. I don't know if you've ever take your phone and you scroll back and look at all the photos from the months and the years prior. You're like, oh, I forgot that I did that. It's so easy for us to just like dismiss something or forget about it because it didn't seem like a big deal. It was just part of our everyday normal, when in reality, it was a big deal. It was a big accomplishment. And it's something that we did that we can be proud of. And so I want you to know that you're allowed to feel proud of this season, even if inside you don't feel like you're doing enough or you're not enough in your leadership. So I'll just share a personal story with you. I've shared it a little bit before, but in college, I was involved in everything. I'm talking everything, like every club, all the academic stuff, extra things, sign up for all of it. I wanted the whole experience. And then in adulthood, when I graduated and I got a job and I took leadership role and then motherhood came, I kept trying to operate at that same college level capacity. And I even joke with myself now because sometimes I do try to operate like I have 200% capacity when I don't. But my season, the seasons in my life have changed. My priorities have changed and my energy has changed since college. So Thanksgiving definitely reminds me that your capacity can shift and you are still enough no matter what season that you're in. So I just want to do this episode to help remind you that if you're thinking about a past version of you, it's time to let go and be where you are right now. So this year, I created something special for this episode. It's called the Year End Accomplishments and Gratitudes Worksheet. And it's to help you reflect on how much you've done and how much goodness you've experienced this year. So you can download it for free inside the Get Organized at Work podcast community. It's free to join the community. It's linked in the show notes below or in the description. And I'm going to walk us through it together and give you examples of how I would fill it in so that you can get started. So I want you to know that this isn't just like a fluffy thing that you're like, oh, yeah, yeah. But seriously, I think it's important for us to take a step back and zoom out a little bit and remember what we've done so that we can be more grateful for the future and also happy with where we are now. Let's be realistic. The last month and a half, I guess there's 5 weeks left in this year. It's not that many. So why don't we just take the time to enjoy it and soak in all of the accomplishments and the seeds that we've planted and look at our field and the flowers that we've grown. And then we can go high energy, when the time is right after the new year. All right. So let's talk about each section. So the first section of this worksheet is called Leadership Accomplishments. So for my own life, here's some examples that I would share. I would share launching the consistency series. We're in it right now. Running the Organized Leader Sprint was an awesome 4-week sprint that I led, and it was the first time hosting it. I had a blast really teaching my method for how to get your work organized and, figure out how to manage your inputs and your inflows, I guess, manage your calendar and start to delegate more. To me, growing the leader inside of that program was huge and just awesome to see their accomplishments showing up clearly for myself and what I'm calling like my director level era. I'm not officially a director, but I'm trying to learn how to delegate more like a director, especially now that I have a manager working for me. And also just learning how to manage my capacity because my capacity has changed. So the way that I lead has to change. So I'm excited about that. I feel like that's a huge accomplishment. Completing system level projects throughout the year and continuing consistent podcast production. I have done an episode every Monday for the entire year so far, and I'm not going to break that streak this year. And that's a leadership accomplishment I'm super proud of. So those are some of my examples. They don't have to be super specific. They can be general. Take the time right now and write down your leadership accomplishments. The second section includes personal accomplishments. So here's some examples from my life. So, I've talked about running and training consistently. I did a couple half marathons last year, a 10-mile, a 5K to end the year. And it was really fun. And to me, getting back into running was huge. Something I haven't shared too much before is that I ran cross country in high school, but I quit. And one of the reasons why I quit is because I felt like it was really catty, like the relationships within the group weren't positive for me. And I kind of told my coach that, oh, I was injured or, oh, I was busy with dance. And, my Achilles tendon was kind of hurting and I just didn't have the time. But really it was more like, I just felt like I didn't belong. And so kind of starting running again for me was like, oh, coming back to something that I loved that I kind of stopped because of other people, which is so silly to think of it now. But for me, that was really, I don't know, healing, I guess, in a way to be like, I'm doing this for me, not for anyone else, which is really cool. The other thing that I've done personally with that is I did start a YouTube channel just for it. If you want to check me out, if you love to run, if you're a millennial, you love to run, maybe you're not a millennial and you love to run. It's a fun joy project that I'm doing for this year. And the YouTube channel is called The Aqua Runner. Go ahead and subscribe. I have 11 subscribers right now. So check it out. It's fun. I'm just enjoying sharing and spreading joy. Other personal accomplishments I'm proud of is being present for my kids and their milestones and strengthening some of our family routines and traditions and really working to create systems at home so that things are easier for everybody, especially for myself when I'm doing that like evening dinner time routine, like making it a little bit easier for me to enjoy it. And then navigating all of those challenges this year, all of any personal challenges I've had with resilience and just like being like, nope, you're good. You can do this. You've got this. Like, you can feel the feels, you can work through it, you can change your mindset. You've got this. So I feel like that's been really cool this year, especially with running. I just think of it as a metaphor. Like can be mentally challenging to run something like a half marathon. And I feel like once you do something like that, like, well, I can do that. I can do anything. Just like when I've had kids, I was like, well, if I can do that, I can do anything. So those are some examples from my personal life that maybe will help inspire you to write something down for yours. Section 3 on the worksheet is just talking about some gratitudes for the year. And for me, my examples would be I'm grateful for you all on this podcast, this audience. And I'm also really grateful for the leader transformations that I've seen inside the sprint, inside the community, inside my Get Organized at Work Blueprint course. It's so cool to talk to people and to have them tell me that my methods help them in any way, whether it's mentally like reframing something or like, hey, I implemented an actual system for this. And so I'm so thankful that you're here listening and that you actually take that and implement it in your own work. And I love hearing about that. So again, if you haven't shared in the podcast community about that or leaving me a rating or review, I'd love to hear some of the things that I've helped you with over the year. So I'm grateful for seeing those transformations and getting to be part of those. I'm also grateful for having a clearer vision for 2026. I'm so pumped for next year, like really continuing to build this foundation of the podcast and KFA consulting and having a lot of ideas and just an excitement for where I want to take it next year. So that's been really cool. I'm grateful for the quiet family moments we've had. We've had a lot of time to like hang out in our house this year, which sounds really dumb, but I feel like oftentimes we're traveling, we're on the go, or we're at the cabin, or we're like in the car or whatever. And I feel like we took a good couple of months where we just like didn't travel and we hung out and just did life here in our community. And that was awesome. And I'm, of course, really grateful for all of our family's physical and mental health. We've had some challenges this year. My son actually did get admitted to the hospital at the beginning of the year, where I stayed overnight with him, actually on the birthday of my other son for some breathing issues, and he's fine. And like that scared me so much. But having the ability for us to all be well, even with like little things that would come up throughout the year, is awesome. The fourth section of this worksheet is what I'm proud of that nobody saw. So in this section, think about the quiet moments of leadership or the quiet moments where you did something, maybe you changed course and you were proud of yourself for doing that, or you talked to yourself in a different way and nobody really saw that moment where you had to like reframe things for yourself. So for me, I listed honoring boundaries and choosing rest and trusting myself and leading with grace and growing my self-awareness and making decisions based on alignment and not pressure. For me, whenever I'm going through a season of transition where I like end one really large project or thing that I'm like building up to, there's always that like lull before, starting the next big thing. And it's tough when the work just keeps coming at you and it feels like pressure and not purpose or alignment. And so for me, I've learned that I need to take like a little respite in between and like just do a little planning, do a little reframing, do a little napping. And then I'm like, okay, I got this full throttle. Right. So I just feel like making decisions around like what feels right versus like the pressure to have to do something or to produce feels so much better. And just taking notice of that's just how my brain works has really worked for me this year. The last section of the worksheet is what you're letting go of before 2026. And so I just want to encourage you to really think about like what's not really serving you anymore. Like what's something that you're doing or thinking or saying or believing that maybe is just like something you don't want to carry into the next year. You want to let go of that weight. And for me, my examples are just the urge to show up perfectly. Sometimes I want to post online, and what I realize is I'm not afraid of what people will think. I'm afraid of being misunderstood. And so I just want to be like, nah, just post it. Like we're all going to be misunderstood at some point. It doesn't really matter. Right. As long as the intentions are good and it's thoughtful and I care about what I'm producing, it's okay. overcommitting out of habit, right? It's just like, oh yeah, one more thing. Kind of like integrating a pause into before I take on something, asking the question, is there anybody else who has capacity or would like to take this on? And if nobody does, then I kind of determine maybe it's not important enough for us to actually take it on, but just like creating a pause before saying yes to something. And then carrying more than my role requires, right? Like taking on other people's emotional baggage, things like that. That's not my job. And so that would be a good example of something that I would definitely write on the worksheet. Unrealistic expectations for myself or for others, something I would definitely want to let go of. And the belief that you need to hustle to matter or to be valuable. It's not something that I feel like would serve me in 2026. So I'm like, let's go of that. All right. So after going through the worksheet myself, I realized that we forget most of our wins because we're already moving in the next thing. And this is the week to slow down enough to remember. Let yourself recognize your own growth. Let yourself breathe and let yourself say, like, this year I did enough. And something cool that I also did is I tend to write down my goals, like top goals in Asana. It's kind of where I keep everything organized for my business. And so I went kind of back and looked at like, well, what did I put for my goals this year? And I talked about my races. So I was like, cool, I did those. And I actually beat some of my goal times, which was fun. And I also had goals for speaking engagements. And I had wanted to do 2 engagements and actually ended up doing a few more than that because I kind of let people know that I was open to it. And it was so fun. I wanted to create and launch my course and market it on the podcast. And I did that. And I wanted to have more connection with my husband, like make sure we were doing things together. Like running was one reason I really wanted to do that because then we could talk about it together. Enjoying my kids. So, spending time with them, not stressing about the little things, making cool traditions. So, if you wrote down your goals anywhere or like things you wanted to do, like take a peek because I feel like even if you never looked at them again after creating them, chances are subliminally you did, think about those throughout the year and you did manage to accomplish or tick at least a few of those off. And even if you accomplish one thing on your list or part of one thing, that's more than nothing. And I think just kind of setting direction and giving yourself clarity around what you think is most important months ago and then seeing where you've come since then is awesome. We always continue to throw out little pebbles over our shoulder and like never look back. But then when all of a sudden you turn around, you're like, oh, it is a mountain, right? I thought that maybe I didn't do much, but every day I threw a little pebble based on the things that I did. And I turn around and I see that I have thrown so many pebbles over my shoulder every single day. And I've accomplished so much. So if you want the year-end accomplishments and gratitude worksheet, you can download it for free inside the Get Organized at Work podcast community. I'd love to hear what you discover. And don't forget, my Black Friday sale is happening now through Sunday at 11:59 p.m. You can get 30% off all podcast merch and all digital and physical products. It just applies at checkout. You don't have to do anything. Links are in the show notes and the description. And just a final reminder for you, the Organized Leader Sprint is my 4-week sprint course, and it's live and recorded. It's going to be open for enrollment early on December 1st because we're going to get started January 13th, and I just don't want people to miss it due to the holidays. So if you go to kfaconsulting.org/sprint, you can join the waitlist. If you are a community member, watch your email for maybe a surprise information about this cohort. So for Black Friday week. So make sure you watch your email for that. Again, I just want to say happy Thanksgiving, my friend. I'm so grateful for you today and always. And I just want you to know, take a deep breath today. Honor the version of you who navigated this year with courage and heart, and celebrate the quiet wins and also the loud ones. And I want you to trust fully that you're already enough, you're already doing enough, and your leadership is already enough. All right. Thank you so much for being here. I'll see you next week. Bye.